In 2015, Subway was untouchable. Over 44,000 locations worldwide. More stores than McDonald's, Starbucks, and Burger King combined. The largest restaurant chain on the planet by unit count. At its peak, Subway felt unstoppable. Every corner, every mall, every gas station had that green and yellow logo. Expansion seemed infinite. But less than a decade later, the picture flipped. By 2024, Subway had shuttered 7,600 U.S. stores, sold itself to private equity for $9.6 billion, and left thousands of franchisees struggling. So what went wrong? Today, we break down Subway's franchise model, the math that doesn't add up, and whether this sandwich empire can survive its own mistakes. Subway started in 1965 when 17-year-old Fred DeLuca borrowed $1,000 to open a sandwich shop in Bridgeport, Connecticut. By 1974, they began franchising with an unusual strategy: prioritize volume over profitability. Sign up as many franchisees as possible. Collect royalties, let operators figure out the rest. By 2002, Subway overtook McDonald's in U.S. store count. By 2015, they peaked at 44,000 stores worldwide, 27,000 in America alone. That's one Subway for every 12,000 Americans. But growth masked a critical flaw. Franchisees weren't making money. The $5 footlong promotion launched in 2008 became a marketing win but eroded margins. When Fred DeLuca died in 2015, the system began to collapse. On paper, Subway looks accessible. Initial franchise fee, $15,000. Total startup investment, $239,000 to $537,000, depending on location. Compare that to McDonald's at $1.3 to $2.3 million. But the ongoing fees tell a different story. Subway charges 8% of gross sales as royalty, plus 4.5% for advertising. That's 12.5% off the top, before rent, labor, or food costs. McDonald's charges 8% total. Jersey Mike's charges 9.5%. Subway is among the highest, and unlike McDonald's, Subway requires franchisees to buy from approved suppliers with no bulk negotiation power. The average Subway store generates $490,000 in annual revenue. After paying 12.5% to corporate, $61,250, plus rent, labor, and food costs, many franchisees net under $40,000 a year. Some don't break even. Compare unit economics across competitors. Jersey Mike's averages $1.3 million in sales per store. Jimmy John's does $977,000. Firehouse Subs does $973,000. McDonald's does $977,000. $2.9 million. Subway's average unit volume is less than half its direct competitors, and a fraction of McDonald's. Even after accounting for lower startup costs, Subway franchisees earn far less than nearly every other major chain. The low barrier to entry attracts inexperienced operators who can't weather downturns. Between 2019 and 2021, Subway's franchisee failure rate was 17%, well above the industry average of 11%. Here's a real example. A franchisee in suburban Ohio opened a Subway in 2018. Revenue was solid, $520,000 a year. 2 years later, corporate approved another Subway 3 blocks away. His sales dropped 40% overnight. He sued, lost. Subway's franchise agreement doesn't guarantee exclusive territories. Corporate can open anywhere. That franchisee closed in 2022. Between 2016 and 2024, Subway closed 7,600 U.S. stores. Globally, the chain shrank from 44,000 to 37,000 locations. 4 factors drove the collapse. Oversaturation. Urban areas had stores within blocks of each other. Franchisees called it cannibalization. Corporate called it market penetration. Weak stores folded. Scandals. Jared Fogel's 2015 arrest was a public relations disaster. In 2017, a Canadian lab found Subway chicken contained only 50% chicken DNA. The rest was soy filler. Reports surfaced about bread containing azodicarbonamide, a chemical also used in yoga mats. Trust evaporated. Menu fatigue. Health-conscious diners wanted transparency and premium ingredients. Subway offered processed meats and mystery sourcing. Competitors like Chipotle and Panera offered customization and clear ingredient origins. Price perception. The $5 footlong anchored customer expectations to low prices. Franchisees couldn't deliver profitably. By 2016, Subway quietly phased out the national promotion, but the damage was permanent. The brand became synonymous with cheap, low-quality food. While Subway declined, competitors surged. Jersey Mike's grew from $825,000 average unit volume in 2018 to $1.3 million in 2024, adding 314 stores in 1 year. In January 2025, Blackstone acquired Jersey Mike's for $8 billion, proving the sandwich category isn't dead, just that Subway's model is broken. Jimmy John's carved out speed as its advantage. Freaky fast delivery became a brand identity. Average unit volume, $977,000, nearly double Subway's. Firehouse Subs focused on flavor and community giving. After Restaurant Brands International acquired them in 2021 for $1 billion, average unit volume jumped to $973,000. Even Panera, a sit-down concept, crushes Subway at $2.6 million per store. The pattern is clear. Subway competes on price. Everyone else competes on quality. In August 2023, Subway sold to Roark Capital for up to $9.55 billion. Roark owns Arby's, Dunkin', and Jimmy John's. They know franchising. The question is whether they can fix Subway. As of late 2024, Subway operates 37,000 stores worldwide, 19,500 in the US, 2,900 in Canada, 2,100 in the UK. Despite closures, it remains the largest chain by unit count, ahead of Starbucks and McDonald's. Roark's strategy focuses on 3 priorities: menu innovation, store modernization, and international expansion. They've introduced new proteins like rotisserie chicken. They're rolling out digital kiosks and updated designs, and they've signed over 20 master franchise agreements since 2020, committing to 10,000 new stores in India, China, and Latin America. Early results are mixed. Same-store sales rose 5% in 2024, the first positive growth in nearly a decade. But U.S. closures continue. Subway lost 631 net locations in 2024 alone. Franchisees report slightly better margins thanks to reduced royalty fees in select markets and more supplier flexibility. But the core problem remains. Average unit volume is still far below competitors. A Subway franchisee earning $40,000 a year can't invest in remodels or menu innovation. They're surviving, not thriving. The question isn't whether Subway survives. With Roark's resources, the brand will persist. The real question is whether the franchise model can deliver sustainable returns for operators, or if Subway is destined to remain a volume play with razor-thin margins. Subway's story teaches 3 lessons. First, explosive growth doesn't guarantee long-term success. Opening 27,000 stores doesn't matter if most barely break even. Second, franchise models only work when operators profit. When corporate priorities diverge from franchisee needs, the system fractures. Third, low barriers to entry flood the market with undercapitalized operators who fail quickly. If you're considering franchise ownership, due diligence is critical. Understand all-in costs. Study unit economics. Talk to current franchisees. Subscribe to Franchise Quick Take for data-driven franchise analysis. No hype, just the numbers that matter. See you next week.